even try to be like, oh, it's Japan. They don't know about America's history. Japan had fucking slaves in the 40s. Yes, the 1940s. The majority of Japan's defense on the mainland that was built in the end of World War II was done so by Korean slaves. They're fucking worse than us.
So much bad things. And besides, you're saying worse. Fucking the US did internment camps in the 1940s. What do you mean? They pulled people out of their fucking homes because they kinda looked Japanese. Oh, well, at least they weren't slaves. They were forced to fight in the war. I'm peeking. Okay, let's address the next video.
I'd like to remind everybody that this show's fiction. Who cares if the show is fictional? Oh, it's not like it's happening in the real world. So? You're supporting a main character who not only...
I don't even know if Fat Jesus was even supporting Rudy's actions. I think he was just saying that, like, you can calm down, it's fictional. Like, he might like watching it. And like the thing of that's the thing. I don't know what Nick is on in this aspect. No one I mentioned it in like the previous address. I'm not supporting all the bad things that Rudy does. I'm watching it and I'm enjoying the story unfold. But like a lot of people mentioned in the comments, like, I watched Game of Thrones. I think it could have been 9 to 10 to 20 million times better if Ed never died. And Game of Thrones was nothing but filled with shitty people doing shitty things. And it was constantly shifting between perspectives. So this automatically makes me all the things that the person that, like the anime character that I'm watching. So what? Yeah, like it automatically makes you the things. You know what? Yeah, let's address this. You know what? Yeah, let's unpack this.
Who cares if the show is fictional? Oh, it's not like it's happening in the real world. So?
Okay.
You're supporting a main character who not only gropes a child, but gropes his cousin, who he then later on goes to marry and have children with, but also actively.
Okay, I'll contest that. Here is my overall analogy. Okay, so we can morally establish that slavery equals the bad. We can morally establish that R word equals the bad. We can morally establish that murder equals the bad. But show me things where murder isn't consistently in shows, but we allow that, no problem. The guy's just getting murdered. It's normal in shows. That's a bad thing, but I'm okay with that. Like, you watch Naruto. Like, murder happens regularly. But you can, it's not like it's not like I consider Nick a murderer because he watches a show that has murder in it. The shows you watch don't make you the people, like, you that individual person. Like, what do you mean?
Supporting a main character who's like, oh, slavery seems fine. Who gives a shit if it's fictional? If tomorrow the KKK came out with an animated movie where the world ever abolished slavery and it's so much better for it, told through the eyes of a character who just finds his cousin so sexy, would you be cool with that? Would that just be fiction?
I mean, yeah, it's fiction. I think there was a TV series about I think it was on Hulu? About like what if the Nazis won the war and like what they do from there. That actually sounds incredibly interesting. I didn't have Hulu at the time because I think that's where it was on. I would have I might need to look into that. That actually sounds interesting. But that doesn't make me a Nazi. Like, what do you mean? 2, no one's condoning the action. I mean, like, people in the comments might be trying to justify Rudy's actions. I'm not. Rudy does shitty things. It's okay to acknowledge them. You're not a bad person for it. I don't believe this take. I got freaking blasted because I liked Velma. And I still do. I can't wait for season 2. I think it was called Clone School. I'm actually excited to see what they do. I enjoyed the first season. Freaking, we had like these awesome scenes. I enjoyed Velma. I enjoyed it. And like, I got attacked for it. And that's what I see this as. But like, to compare, the whole world's about like, you know, the world, you know, it's the KKK. They're establishing whatever KKK established. It's all super bad, all that stuff, right? And our main protagonist. Oh wait, no, the world is good. But let's say the main protagonist gets isekai from our world. Let's say it's like you just got picked up and got put in that world, right? And where KKK's all good, right? Yay, good. Hopefully you're, of course, not of color to where you're just automatically getting attacked. But like, so let's say in this hypothetical, you're not, and it's all about you trying to live in this society where like, they're like, yay, KKK, right? I don't care what Nick's take is. No one's expecting you to just magically completely change the entire world dynamic. The entire world believes something. You would be completely against the world, unless if you have the power to commit complete genocide, and then you have to condone whether or not genocide's a good thing or not, which should be never okay. But that's okay that it's never okay. That's the point that I'm making. Like, it's okay that you are making a evil decision because you're choosing the lesser of two bad things. You're trying to do better with the bad things that are happening. So you might be in this isekai and like, so KKK is doing all that stuff, and instead of like, let's say just all right, killing people, like they consistently have slavery, right? So you're stuck in this world. Chances are, excuse me, you might not think it's okay, and you clearly see that it's not okay. So you purchase slaves, and then you give them a good life with zero possibility of all the crappy shit. But you stick with societal norms to just do the best you can. You will still be viewed, especially in the future, as an evil person because you were a slave owner in this aspect, right? But damn, that makes for some good storytelling. That's a good story. That's an interesting, intricate story. The drama, the intrigue, the willingness to be an evil, to fight an evil. That's good shit. I enjoy that. Does this make me a terrible person? Maybe. But after the Velma shit, I've come to accept it. The only reason I'm even here is to readdress the fact that, like, he's attacking, like, whether or not your opinions matter. Or opinions matter. You like it, you watch it, your opinion, he don't care. And like, I hope he doesn't block me for this, but like, that's what I'm addressing. I'm addressing to try to validate my opinion. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But that's what I think I'm like, that's the rub of it. Let's continue.
But because the animation and the universe building is kind of good, you're like, oh yeah, let's keep supporting these isekai that perpetuate old and outdated and disgusting tropes so that we can never achieve what could actually be good isekai. Because Mashuga Tensei being the most popular isekai on Earth means that doing things like making slavery okay and essaying children's in your isekai is okay. And don't...
It's not okay, but that's okay. Like, okay, so... Because, like, well, I mean, like, murder's not okay, right? So why would you allow murder in your isekai or any media? How could you allow murder in your stuff? It's not okay. That's why that comment has validity. It's fiction. If people are enjoying it, let them enjoy it. They're not becoming psycho murderer slave owners. They're just sitting there watching an anime they like. You don't like it? That's fine. I'm sure that there's people that don't like gory slashers. But I don't think you should boycott gory slashers just because you don't like it. Let them enjoy it. It's not like I expect them to become a gory slasher. Yep, they like the Nightmare on Elm Street stuff, therefore they're Freddy Krueger. What kind of take is that? This is why I'm making this video. This is why right here. I love watching the videos where people that are into like slashers like geek out about the slasher and like the scaling of like the different slashers and stuff like that. I like it. I've never particularly had a problem with gore, but there are two movies that like I can't handle: Misery and I can't handle Tusk, because like I can't look at walruses the same because of Tusk. And I've personally broken my leg, so I feel it with Misery, right? So do I think these things shouldn't exist because I can't watch them or I don't like them? No. And that is the thing we need to stop. That is the thing we should be up against, and we should be advocately opposing, is people trying to boycott things from existing. I'm sorry you don't like it. I am. I'm sorry you don't enjoy the story. I'm sorry you don't enjoy the world building. I'm sorry you don't enjoy... I'm sorry enough of the elements aren't enough for you to continue watching. But like, again, that like 90 a bunch of people saying in the comments, like, that's Game of Thrones right there. Like, I love the world building, but after Ed died, it was really hard to watch. It was, because like that would have been like the catalyst, that would have been like the biggest, factor. But there were a lot of other characters that I enjoyed, and I just wanted to see how their journey would continue. So I followed it. But then how it ended was such a letdown. But not even on Game of Thrones standards. It was just, god dang it. Didn't enjoy the ending. Do I invalidate? I don't care about your opinion if you did enjoy it. No, you can have your opinion. Yeah, if you enjoyed it, that better off to you. I enjoy when other people have different opinions to me. Because the thing about like one of my favorite things about like playing video games is character creation. So like with people having different tastes, I have a better chance of being able to make a unique character because of it. And that's what I enjoy, is being able to stand out with my individuality without like, so I enjoy other people's opinions because like of that. The only thing I hate is when you're spreading hate. That's not an opinion. That's just being shitty. And that's what I feel like the end of that take was. Saying, I don't care about your opinion on anime. I don't care about your opinion in general. Especially to your fans. It hurt. I'm not gonna lie. It hurt. I enjoy his stuff, so it fucking hurt. And that's why I'm making this. My emotions, I'm upset, and my feelings are hurt. You big dummy.
Don't even try to be like, oh, it's Japan. They don't know about America's history. Japan had fucking slaves in the 40s. Yes, the 1940s. The majority of Japan's defense on the mainland that was built in the end of World War II was done so by Korean slaves. They're fucking worse than us.
Wait, doesn't that conflict with his point earlier? Because like, I understand like the level of like trying to like protest, like, things like that, but like there are certain avenues, certain countries that do not like allow like that level of like free speech and stuff like that, to where like they would just pick you up and throw you in jail. So you protest for a day and it does absolutely nothing because you're already in jail. So sometimes you just have to live with. That's how I feel here. Is that I like, there's so much bad things. And besides, you're saying worse. Fucking the US did internment camps in the 1940s. What do you mean? They pulled people out of their fucking homes because they kind of looked Japanese. Oh, well, at least they weren't slaves. They were forced to fight in the war. I'm peeking. Prove it. I'm not just gonna freaking say things. Cause I remember, I'll be honest. The only reason I even knew of this was because I am a cinephile and a geek, and I was looking up Mr. Miyagi's history. And that's just a character. Yeah. So here it is. During World War II, the United States forcibly relocated and incarcerated at least 125,284 people of Japanese descent in 75 identical incarceration sites. Most lived on the Pacific coast in concentration camps in the western interior of the country. Approximately 2/3 of the inmates were United States citizens. These actions were initiated by President Franklin D. Roosevelt via executive order. God. God damn it. I shouldn't be laughing at this. Fuck. I shouldn't be laughing at this. Did he do that did he know? Did Lucas know? Execute Order 66. Like, yo, what? Did he know? Following Imperial Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor. So, Pearl Harbor gets bombed. We're like 2/3 Japanese citizens. Yoink! So, you want to call that better? You want to call that fucking better? To me, they're two very, very evil things. But none of that matters because it's a story being told. It's okay with non-okay things to exist in fiction. We have had murder in fiction for generations. Like, it's okay. Eventually, like, if we keep this up, eventually murder will need to be removed because we do not consider murder socially acceptable in society. So we need to remove it because we can't have socially unacceptable things in our media, in our fiction, in our stories. We got to remove them. All of it.
With everyone being like, oh, you don't understand Rudy's character. He goes through a character development arc. No, he doesn't.
He really doesn't. That's a fair take. He really doesn't. Rudy's a piece of shit. But that's okay. We should acknowledge the fact that he's a piece of shit. Not pretend that he's not. I'm not here defending his fucking actions because Rudy's a piece of shit, but I enjoy fucking watching this piece of shit. Fucking, what's her face? From the one anime. The one anime. Perfect freaking thing. One sec. I'll stop talking so that way I can just cut this. This one. Tanya, the saga of Tanya the Evil, right? Right? This one is a perfect example. So this, you had this corporate guy that stepped on people, just overall gross piece of shit. Big guy happened to get pushed in front of a train, I think it was, because of firing someone, and they got revenge or whatever. They get isekai'd as this little girl. There's no sexual things, so you don't need to worry about that avenue. That really doesn't come into play. There's really very minute like relationship concept in, like direction and stuff like that, just in general. But this character is willing to commit complete genocide just for a promotion. Oh, about a character, whether, you know, the character getting worse or better or whatever, like they don't get better. They're not a better, like, he takes care of his own stuff because he's like also like middle-aged guy inside the body of a child, whatever. He takes care of his own stuff. If you're part of his platoon, you work hard, but he will protect you. That's like the nicest shit he'll do, but you have to work hard, exponentially hard, right? And yeah, he'd be willing to commit complete genocide just for one. But this is something that's more allowable. This is not this is equally morally bad. You shouldn't commit genocide. But we accept that. We don't second guess that. We don't treat it like it's something comparable to fucking slavery or R-word or whatever. It's genocide. It's full-blown murder. It on a grand scale. We're in media, perfectly fine. So yes, this morally bad things can exist in media. The characters don't always need to do the morally good things to counteract the morally bad things to exist in media. It's called storytelling. You are not a bad person just because of that. And, like, I'm sick of this, like, notion, like, we need to be treating people like they're complete shit because they're just watching a show.
He marries Sylphie, his childhood friend,
Yeah.
who was a child when
Yep.
they met Rudy, but Rudy was very much a reincarnated 33-year-old, making Rudy A groomer, and B, disgusting because when he takes her V card,
Yeah.
she breaks the thing that women break when they lose their V cards, and gets blood on the sheet, which Rudy cuts and keeps with him at all times.
He's such a creep.
Fucking sociopathic. Once again,
so
if you watch the
fucked.
show, you're the reason
It's
that when
so
I go
fucked.
to events and I say I make content about anime, they're all like, huh, didn't think that you would do that. Because nobody fucking believes that regular people can watch anime. And oh, the slave that he buys lives a peaceful life with Zenoba. Think about that sentence for 2 seconds. Rudy buys a slave and their life gets better. It's perpetuating the idea that slavery is a good thing.
No, it's not. It's only perpetuating that idea if you're not like what a big boy, big girl, able to handle it. No one's saying slavery is a good idea. I am not saying slavery is a good idea. Slavery equal bad. But no one should be saying that murder is a good thing. So based on, we could go off with my murder analogy. Based on your own logic, murder is automatically a good thing because it exists in media. If slavery exists in media and then how their life gets better perpetuates the idea that slavery is good based on your own claim just now, right? So what? Because so everyone should believe that like murder's a good thing if it leads to better life. No, murder should always be viewed as a bad thing, period. Even if it led to a good life, you shouldn't be like, it's like, did that murder today? You know, just the usual. No. Usually characters have to deal with the psychological trauma of the fact that they had to murder people in order to have an okay life. You think people that were slaves aren't dealing with the suffering that they're going through just because they're living a better life? No, there's PTSD attached to that. And I wouldn't be surprised if that ends up becoming like a thing. Fucking Rudy's currently, like the anime, going through like erectile dysfunction just because of his trauma. Although, like, it's kind of deserved. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. I'm kind of, like, sometimes it's like Rudy does the things and, like, it's like, I'm glad your penis is broken right now. Like, it's a fucking show. You saying that it does this doesn't make it true. The fact that you believe that it does this says more about your character than it does about anyone who's not like, I think the normal stance is slavery equal bad. Well, that shitty situation is at least slightly better. It's no different than like if you kill someone to save someone. I don't condone killing, but they are living a better life. Crazy.
Oh, it happened in the medieval times. Of course Rudy's allowed
Okay,
to marry.
let me read this real quick. I get your point from what I understand. The show takes place in medieval times where this stuff would happen. Irrelevant. 100% irrelevant. It doesn't matter if it's future, past, or present. World builders create their own societal norms for the story, and that is okay. We as individuals watch it and determine whether or not we enjoyed the delivery of everything that had transpired. If we're able to enjoy the story, let's enjoy the story. A good story of like what I don't think is like good is The Little Mermaid. Both the Hans Christian Andersen version and the Disney version. Both of those stories are terrible to me. because the Hans Christian Andersen version is you better do what dad says, because if you don't, you get to live in purgatory for 100 years. Or the Little Mermaid, or the Disney version, you have girl has foot fetish that outweighs the safety of her people, of her society, of her home, of her family. And again, you better listen to your dad. Like, that's all those movies were. Oh, well, one was the book, and then the other one was the movie, right? And like, that's what it was. It was about listening to daddy, or else bad things happen. Don't like that. Do I think they need to be destroyed and attacked upon? No, you could just do better, make better things, make different things, make new things. It's okay that stuff exists. And it's do I think it's okay that people enjoy it? Yeah, I think it's perfectly fine, because it doesn't fucking matter. Like, what do you mean? It don't matter. You're not a bad person just because you like The Little Mermaid. You're not a bad person just because you like the Hans Christian Andersen one. And you're not a bad person because you like an anime where very shitty things happen to very shitty people. Like, I would, however, say that, like, all the stuff, like, with Selfie is just so pure and innocent that, like, does make it, like, really hard. She's, like, the only, like, good thing in the world. Like, but, yeah, no, time period doesn't matter. Like, because we don't automatically have to associate it. We just, like, you just need to create the societal norms for your verse. Like, we can compare it to ours, but I don't think it has to be, because they could make it a medieval world that's nothing like our medieval world, and that'd be okay too. I want people to create more. I don't want to come up with reasons why things shouldn't exist. Although I'll joke about it, like I'll like my poll from earlier of like mentioning like I don't think like Tusk shouldn't exist. Awful. I can't look at walruses the same. I'll make jokes like that. But no, I think people should have, like, the chance to enjoy it. If they can enjoy it. And even if not, like, I kind of think, like, you should be mentally scarred, too. If I get to be mentally scarred, you have to, too.
His second cousin and buy into the slave ring. Why wouldn't he be able to? It's the time period. You want to know another anime that happened during the medieval times, actually before the medieval times? Vinland Saga, widely regarded as one of the greatest anime of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Did I miss the arc where Thorfinn essayed his cousin, the child? Did I miss the story about how Thorfinn bought slaves? Oh wait, no. Thorfinn...
Haven't seen it, but let me know. Did murder happen? Murder's not okay. Like, I'm gonna keep pulling that because that's a fucking perfect analogy. Remember, murder's not okay. Just like those things aren't okay. So tell me, did murder happen? Because if it did, you shouldn't allow that anime to be a thing. You can't don't do the murder wrong. You're a murderer if murder happens in the entertainment you watch.
Is a slave. And the entire story is about him trying to break the system of the world, believing that they need slaves in the first place, while also trying to eliminate things like war. Almost like it's a story written with modern day ideologies, where we don't have to grit our teeth and try and make shoestring arguments that, oh, it was the time, slavery was cool then. If you take just one step back from the, hey, slavery was cool then argument, you'll realize slavery was never cool. Since
murder is also never cool. We have horror flicks. We have slashers. We have so much media with murder in it. Murder was never cool. Why do we allow it to be in our stuff? Because it's a narrative element attached to our media that creates these environments of good storytelling and plot development even, and the drama and suspense and the struggle for the character. That's why we have murder and stuff. And unfortunately, sometimes when things don't have murder, things get kind of boring, if we're being particularly honest. I'm not saying we should be slavers. I'm not saying we should be R-words. I'm also not saying we should be murderers. But it has none of that matters in media, in stories. Let characters be written however. If you don't like it, don't like it. That's okay. But why attack people's validation just because you don't like something? Just don't like it. If you were justifying why you don't like it, that would be a different story. But this is still going back on how you don't care about our opinion, the people that like it. So it invalidates us. Maybe other people are like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too sensitive or whatever. That could be the case. Maybe other people are like that. But no here. If you've made it this far, know here that if you have a valid opinion on something, if you have, like, I'm not talking about hate opinions. I'm talking about a valid opinion on why you enjoy something. You are justified in your opinion. You're allowed to have it. Absolutely. You like Freddy Krueger as a villain? You're allowed to do that. You like Deathstroke as a villain. He groomed a child, right? You're allowed to have that. Because they're characters. It's a story. It's entertainment. We need to stop making people accountable for these ambiguous things that you're not a murderer just because murder happens in a show you watch. So you're not any of the other things. I just beat the crap out of that. Just because of shows you watch. You're allowed to watch whatever you want to watch. You have a valid opinion here is the point that I'm trying to make. And this one's almost done. I think I've almost turned this into like an hour-long thing.
Now, sitting down and making a story where slavery is cool because it's happening at a certain time actively goes against the collective unconscious decision that we've all made that slavery isn't cool. It's not.
I reiterate the murder. We shouldn't be thinking that murder is cool and okay.
Not a hard concept. We can make stories about the medieval times without making our main characters slave owners. And if it had only happened once in recent isekai, I'd say,
but you have to make them murderers, right? Not a slave owner, but murder. Sometimes you get the character that's able to wipe out armies, so that's genocide. But it's war, right? That justifies it. No, it's never a good thing. It just is what it is. And it's okay for that to be in a story. We don't have to have everything removed just because of people's sensibilities. Like, no one's boycotting slashers. Although they don't condone, like, I'm just recycling the same fucking shit. I'm fucking continue.
One off, the author of MT is weird. But, it hasn't. Which is why I'm making this video. Because the more that we support isekai like this, the more that the trope gets normalized. Oh, it happened in the medieval times. Of course Rudy's allowed.
But it's good. Just because you don't like that I mean, like, that's okay. You're allowed to not like it. But people enjoy it. I loved Shield Hero. Do I plan on being a slave owner? No. But if I'm forced into a situation, at least I will try to do whatever I can. Free them if I can. If I can't, then at least give them the best possible life. Kill them so that way they're not a slave anymore? Is that because we would condone murder, but we don't condone slavery. So that means that the most morally acceptable, socially acceptable thing would be to just kill them so that way they're not a slave anymore. So that's what you would do. The most moral thing to do would be, you can't really kill them at the slave trader, right? Because then you'll get a whole fight on your hands, and unless if you're scaling, then you're not going to be able to fight them back, right? So you can only do it whatever. So the most morally right thing to do to free slaves instead of freeing slaves, and it's just freaking buy them and kill them. That's the only way, because in order to be allowable. by whatever societal standards. No, this is ridiculous. What needs to stop is this. I'm sorry that you don't like it, but there are plenty of fucking isekai out there that aren't like Jobless, Shield Hero, and stuff to do with slaves. There are fucking so many, and so many more keep getting peddled. And yeah, sure, what you have now, some of them rub me the wrong way. Like there was this one to where like it like its whole thing is just about like, you know, slavery and racking up slaves. Like that's the, like, I mean, like technically that happened in Shield Hero, but like there was one that's the only, like it was just about getting a collection of it. Not like that was almost like the goal of it. And like, yeah, no. And like, and I'll be honest, it rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't watch it anymore. Right. But me not watching it is really no different than it not existing. If you actually wanted people to stop watching it, you would have appealed to their sensibility and actually tried to talk to people. Yeah, sure, you wouldn't have been able to convince everybody, but you definitely would have been able to convince more people than just attacking them the way you did with your opinion doesn't matter to me. So like, I mean, like this video wouldn't even freaking like doesn't even matter, right? So like, just do whatever. I needed to get this like off my fucking chest, like, cause this is ridiculous. Excuse me. Like, I do not think you are a terrible person or a monster for the media that you enjoy. And you could be like, well, what if the media was made by like a really crazy evil person? I mean, like, I would be incredibly interested behind it. Like, I would be curious. I'd want to check it out. I'm not going to lie. I would be interested. The issue is more about, like, if it's just about spreading hate. This thing isn't. It's just about entertainment. So, in conclusion, to wrap everything up, to go back off of it, this is about trying to validate my own opinion regarding this. I do not condone Rudy's actions. I think he is also a piece of shit. But I do think that the story created a decent enough narrative for it to be justifiable on why he is a piece of shit, which makes it an interesting story for me to follow. I don't think that everyone's perfect. I like seeing things from multiple people's perspectives, even when it comes to like an argument or a debate or whatever. Like, and I found this show to be very relatable in the sense of like the world's full of shitty people, and so we have a shitty person going there. Now, in terms of like everything else, I think there's like so many things about the show that's just beautifully delivered and I enjoy. This show addresses not only slavery, but it also addressed like there was like a whole people that are being ostracized by society, which is stuff that we've had here. It has relatable concepts in it, right? So it makes the story interesting. And I'm not even trying to convince you to like it. That has nothing to do with it. Hate it. If you don't like it, hate it. You're allowed to hate it. You're allowed to not like it. You have given very justifiable reasons on why you hate it. Perfectly fine. My whole video is about giving reasons on why I would like my opinion to matter. You don't agree with my take on this? That's 100%. I get that. But there's a difference between not agreeing with something and just outright not caring about something without even hearing them out, you know? And you probably won't see this, but like, still, like, I enjoy Jobless Reincarnation. I enjoy a lot of things that a lot of like the norm for like media, I enjoy a lot. Like there's like, I'm like I mentioned, I'm a cinephile. I like watching stuff. Like you have to go above and beyond to really damage my like view of something. Actually, I was recently watching Talentless Nana. And that's actually one that kind of rubbed me the wrong way because I wanted her to fail. And so like I was like I wanted her to fail, and I wanted her to fail in like a spectacular way. Like that is what I wanted. And this had nothing to do with anything sexual, had nothing to do with slavery. Did have to do with like grooming to being a serial killer, which intrigue. It's like I don't even know how you even do that, but I wasn't even like ooh, teach me. Like that's not what this is. It's a story being told, and it's okay to enjoy stories. I don't think all stories need to be like sunshines and rainbows that are only the morally okay and sociably acceptable things. And I don't think you do either. You just have this particular stance against this particular thing being in media. And that is perfectly fine. You have a problem with slavery being put in the that's it. You don't want anything to do with it because slavery was put in that. That is perfectly fine. Walk away. You don't have to have anything to do with that anymore. But the reason behind why you think it should absolutely be abolished from because like my biggest problem is the fact that I don't think that we should limit creativity. If it's purely to spread hate, then that's not creativity. So like that would be something I would address. But if it's telling a story in a new, unique, or with elements and like there's factors you can enjoy. And I don't condone slavery, and just because I watch Jobless, and just because I watch Shield Hero, and just because what you say so, no, I don't. You can't make me. I just like these shows. And I'm sorry that my opinion doesn't matter to you because of that.